Anyways.
Hi, Internet. Hey, Internet. Well, you gotta start.
Okay. Hi.
Yeah. Vitasinen.
I started with the wrong word. Hey, Internet. I'm Dan. You want to do it?
No, I'm good. We're chatting. We're chazzing.
We're chazzing.
Just chazzing. Just chazzing.
Oh, we're just chazzing. Yeah.
Fertig? Fertig? Wir gehen jetzt.
Wunderbar.
Ich heiße Dan.
And I'm Chaz, and this is Wine is Serious Business, episode 341.
Woo!
We're here with some German Riesling.
Yes.
I was down at the store today.
Good stuff.
And 2015 is a vintage that I think has been kind of highly regarded in the press, and so I've been making a point to try to stop by the store, check out what people have been getting in for 2015s, and I got there and there was all these 2015s. I bought a whole bunch of different ones, but I was like, it'd be fun to do a show on these. I know not... Maybe like a lot of people watch this show for Oregon stuff, but Dan,
we've got a German following now too.
Okay, great. Yeah, Dan and I really love the German Riesling. I really love the German Riesling, and so here today we've got three wines. We'll start with the Selbach-Oster.
Okay.
So this is the Zeltinger Himmelreich Riesling Kabinett Halbtrocken 2015.
Good deal. We'll take that as a rinse.
It's a rinse. Yeah, we got a rinse. Yeah. We're doing two shows tonight, so we're a little warm already. You know?
Yeah. So Selbach-Oster. Family winery in the town of Zeltinger in Germany, right in the heart of the Mosel. Beautiful place. I can't encourage you enough to go there. Mm-hmm. Multi-generation family winery. Some really great vineyards. You're right. The little town's like nestled in these huge walls of the vineyards. You can go walk amongst them.
It's seriously wine fairyland. It is just absolutely amazing. Like it's just so different from what you experience in America.
Yeah.
So just villages wrapped with vineyards all the way around it, right? It's just crazy.
And Johannes is a brilliant guy, one of those people that you can talk to for 10 minutes, and every time you do so, you learn something you didn't know about winemaking or grapes. He's got a great vision, a great connection to his family's history. I always love tasting what he's doing. So Zeltinger Himmelreich is probably... amongst the locals, they're probably the highest regarded of the three vineyards. Right. I'm a little partial to the Schlossberg from some producers, but part of it is that it gets good ripeness, and I'm sure the German would give us much more detailed descriptions of flavors. I'm not there, but high quality lot.
Yep.
Halbtrocken is a legally regulated term, so it's below. Yeah, I'm not even going to look up the numbers again. That doesn't matter to you. It's below Kabinett, but it's controlled.
Okay. Yeah. So basically off dry.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Half dry is the literal translation. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah. I mean, I really like German Riesling in like that just barely off dry style.
Yep.
Like some of the Mosel Rieslings, like when they're fully dry, can be like right on release can be like pretty acidic, like really aggressive. And it's like if you add just that little hint of sugar, man, it really rounds things out, and they're just so drinkable right off the bat. So I was really excited to see that we had these.
And that's a really good purchasing tip too. So they're also generally like less sweet and less high quality grapes usually than that are in the Prädikat wines, your Kabinett, Spatlese, Auslese, etc.
Sure.
And so as a result, they're typically quite a bit cheaper as well.
Yep.
So Halbtrocken and Feinherb is another designation that you'll see on bottles, and usually represents quality wine at a little bit lower price if the Kabinetts and Spatlese are a little expensive for you.
And all of these are right around $20. So I think this one's just under $20, just over $20, and like $24, $25.
Which is amazing, right? For wine from world-class vineyards. So
absolutely. So
yeah, here we go. Smells like young German Riesling, right?
Yeah. It's got a pretty stinky nose as far as the sulfur thing is
going. A little
right?
stony, little sulfur's going on there.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty kind of close. I get a little bit of like lemon citrus or something, but still pretty closed on the nose.
A little bit of pineapple juice. But you're right.
Yeah, no Spanhazes, but German wines on the nose often are hiding great things, even if the nose is a little closed. So
good point.
Yeah, definitely better on the
great mouthfeel.
Fun. Starts out with that acidity and those crisp citrus flavors. Yeah. And really
big
just has a nice wallop, and then a nice bloom of fruit in the middle, like some really nice pineapple, a little touch of peach, just a hint of what these grapes would be if they were super ripe, and gives you something to think about. Right, really refreshing, enjoyable.
It's so weird that these wines can impart these flavors. I mean, like having Riesling from the States, and then having Riesling from Germany. It's just like the amount of like stone fruitiness and like sort of tropical flavors paired with like minerality. It's so different. Like it's what keeps me drinking this stuff. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's distinct. Man, lots of stones and lemons on this. And I'll say it's drifting. It's drifting towards what you get out of some of the cheaper German bottles too, with a little less sugar. Like you get, the minerality's still there. The acidity's still really strong. I think a little bit of time to integrate will do this a few favors as well.
Yeah.
But at
Definitely
the
a young
price point,
wine.
it's still accessible. You get some good flavors, something to think about. I'm into it.
Yeah, like good overall length. I think like it's so crazy that this tastes pretty much dry, right? Like this tastes
Quite
like
dry.
if you didn't know it was dry, or if you tasted it and you couldn't see the label, you would think it was a dry wine.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if there's sugar in this, it's a very small amount, or if there is a fair amount of sugar, there's so much acid that this is like.
And it says it's 11.5% alcohol, so it's pretty close to dry. Yeah.
Yeah, that right there tells us something. But overall, a fantastic wine. I think at like $19, wouldn't be afraid to stash a few of these away and age them. Like this is probably going to be a really good wine in a few years.
And while it's not technically all the way dry, I'd say if you're a fan of dry German wines and you're looking to get a hold of stuff that doesn't cost you what the Grosses Gewächs will, like a quarter of the price or something like that, go ahead and check one of these out. I could see it aging as well. I'd also say leave it open for a while. This is pretty much a pop and pour, and just from experience, I know that noses like this usually blow off and open up a little bit after.
Even decant it, right?
Yeah, after a little bit of air. So off to a good start.
Yeah, that's delicious.
Yeah.
All right, so next is the Joseph Christoffel Jr. Urziger Wurzgarten Spatlese Riesling Feinherb. What a mouthful.
Man, so another great winemaker from another great village, another great vineyard, right? So this guy's older gentleman in his 70s at least, maybe beyond that now. Mm-hmm. Been making wine for many, many years in the little town of Urzig. So he's got some great plots of grapes in the Urziger Wurzgarten, Spice Garden,
Beautiful
Red
home.
Slate.
Beautiful winery.
Oh man, yeah. Red Slate in contrast to the
effervescent.
Oh yeah. To the Gray Slate in the Mosel, or the Gray Slate in Zeltinger, just down the river.
This is Red Slate, right?
Yeah, Urziger Wurzgarten's Red Slate. Yep, and he's really well known for having a lot of aged wines, a lot of He's really well known for having a lot of aged wines in his cellar. Our friend Ewald has been importing him for decades now.
Right.
And brought in some really great stuff over the years. Not so many old wines coming in now.
Right.
But what's valuable there is that we know through lots of experience that these wines can age. Right. There's no question.
Totally.
There's no question.
That's kind of the crazy thing, right? Like when these were all for a while, the Portland market was literally flooded with these old wines. Like they were just everywhere, and you could get them for cheap. I mean, you could like buy 20-year-old cabinets for like $19 sometimes at some supermarkets.
Yeah.
It was absurd. And so for a long time I was just like, oh, it must not be a very good winery or something. But no, it was just Ewald had like got a deal with the guy and was bringing these wines into the Portland market
at a great price.
and really spoiling the shit out of us.
It's really true, yeah.
But like Dan made the point was that we know these wines age really well.
And I'm also going to say, being an older gentleman, you're not going to be able to buy these wines for 20 more years, probably.
No, they'll be gone soon.
Right. So if you get a chance to check them out, I really encourage you to do it. Also, smelling a little bit of,
got a little more sulfur. Got some sulfur.
Yeah, sulfur, a little bit of funky, maybe a little spontaneous yeast funk on there.
Right. Okay.
Young German wine.
That's the yeasty character, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll say, and that's something too. In a lot of wines, that represents a huge flaw. But in German Riesling, if you're getting a little cabbage on the nose, that's also a characteristic of spontaneous yeast fermentation. And when it's even a little younger, it's even more stinky. Sure. But in almost all cases, it's essentially closed-pit wine, even if it's really strong. That's a good way to test that it's not actually broken in some way. Plug your nose, taste it, you're like, oh, it's fine. Sure. And then it just needs some time. And it needs some time in bottle before it really comes around.
Yep.
And a lot of these wines aren't necessarily meant to drink young. We all know that the Germans love to put sulfur in the wine as well.
Right. And we've experienced that before, right?
Yeah.
Like they early on, they'll show a good amount of sulfur, but give it like 5 years, and it's gone.
Yeah.
Right? So,
yeah.
Right. Yeah, a little cabbagey in the nose.
Mm-hmm.
You're totally right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there was a little effervescence in there as well. Not a lot. It's not like it's frizzante, but again, from the fresh bottling, I think there's suspended CO2 essentially, which is an enjoyable mouthfeel. Man,
It's almost like a little effervescent on the tongue, man. It adds like a sort of mouthfeel characters to it. It's actually, excuse me, quite nice. Like it's almost juicy, like kind of jumping out of my mouth right now. It's weird.
what did this cost?
21 or something like that. Interesting, right?
I gotta say, get on this. Where this really wins. So again, it's got that little acidity, a little bit of that sulfur kind of on the front end. But as it carries on, there's this little hint of richness, and then really late, it's got like this like ringing bit of like peach flavor that is so light and so pure, and just sits on the back of the palate. I don't know, for tens of seconds as we're sitting here enjoying it, and this is a real hint at what these great Rieslings will do, where these flavors can be intense and hang out for so long. And you really get a taste of it here at a great price. That's accessible now, and will just get better as kind of like the nose starts to come together. So
I want to say one thing is that I've consumed probably like 3 or 4 bottles now of the Trocken version of this, just the straight, like the dry, and it's already drinking and really, really well, and has sort of a similar characteristic to this, right? Like it's really kind of strange how similar. I mean, obviously the wines come from the same place, and there's a bit more sugar here, but like it doesn't feel that way. It still feels almost dry.
Yeah,
there's a bit, I guess, a
little bit
more sugar. Yeah, you can.
And I can taste it. And Feinherb's not a regulated term, and when you see that, usually there's, a little less than Kabinett, sometimes on par with that. In my experience, I found, but it could be anywhere in the mix.
I really liked with the Trocken wine and with this, like how light the touch is on the flavors across the board. Like they're almost delicate, but they're very pure. I mean, they're refreshing. They're super easy to drink and super delicious. Yeah, this is good. I mean, $21, right? Like this is fantastic.
Fantastic stuff. And I don't know if it's available out of places. So and we don't shout out specific shops too often, but I'd say go to Vinopolis' website. You can pick this stuff up. I know Avald sell it. They've been a big supporter of Avald, especially in recent years, which is great. So not a lot of places are bringing this into the States, if anybody else.
Right.
So if you're seeing this from somewhere else in the country, get on there. Do yourself a favor. Get a couple of these bottles. On to wine number 3.
So Dan turned me on to this producer, and since I have become it's become a favorite of mine.
So again, no surprise to any of you introduced to us by Avald. He imported them for a while. When I went over there in 2011 for my first visit, I went there and tasted. I'd liked it before, but that really pushed me over the edge. This is now one of the few wines, including my favorites in Oregon. There's not a lot of wines that I buy without tasting them first. We live in a great place. You get to taste a lot of wines. The Spatlese from the Goldgrube vineyard from Weingut Vollenweider is one that I'll take a fly on anytime now.
Sure.
This is the Kabinett from them, but it's a high-quality vineyard that at least in more recent times didn't have a lot of regard, but he's a guy from Switzerland, moved to the Mosel to make wine.
Living the dream.
Yeah. Got this great castle, right? This great castle right down by the river. If you get the chance to visit again, I encourage you to do it. But big thanks to Von Boden for picking them up. Big thanks to Scott Frank for getting them around the Portland area. Big thanks to ENR and apparently Vinopolis as well for putting these on the retail shelves for folks like Chaz and myself to get into.
Because they are, Well,
I can't wait to try this.
We'll see.
Can't wait to try it.
We'll see. I'll pour big pours of this one.
Right, and we talk about off camera a little bit. He said I should mention this, that this is Kabinett. This is a predicate designation. Again, it's a measure of the ripeness at harvest, and over time, I guess over our drinking history, even there's been kind of a push where people classify down, or Kabinett wines often have Spatlese or level ripeness, so they're quite sweet for their classification. I'm not sure how this one's going to play into it, but we're definitely expecting it to be more sweet than these previous two.
Absolutely. And I will say one thing about Kabinett is as someone who buys German Rieslings, Kabinett seems to be the value wheelhouse.
Totally.
It's where you find. I mean, this is a single pass wine from a world class vineyard, and it's $24 a bottle.
Right.
Right. Like there was a lot of effort made to produce this wine.
Yeah.
And it's $24 a bottle.
Right, hand labor on steep stone slopes. Yeah,
right. And the Spatlese and the Auslese also have a similar level of effort. However, it's they're more expensive.
Yep.
Right, and they have a bit more sugar, or whatever your tastes are. But these are so good with food. anything spicy that you can throw at it. Like it's the jam. So
and at that price, you can afford to try it, right? Like
Absolutely.
you can't take a $50 flyer on a high-end off slice and see if you like it or not. That's a little.
Absolutely. Or it's risky. Yeah, it's risky. Yeah, but in a good vintage possibly, or if you know the producer. But like with the cabinets, you can afford to just kind of go down the line and just buy one of each, and it's
see how it goes.
See how it goes. We're about to see. So.
A little funky on the nose again,
A bit,
right?
Yeah, but not as much. Like there's more fruit flavors here,
a little bit
than the last one. But you're right about the cabbagey sort of aroma.
But I know, and when I tasted there in the past, I don't know. Yeah, if you go on the cellar track and look at some of my old notes, it's there. I like and the Germans even like Sponti. They're like the spontaneous yeast.
Sure.
That's just the smell, and it definitely goes away with it.
It only smells.
Yeah.
Matty D.
He might watch this too, right?
He might. Yeah, he might actually watch this one. Yeah. Be like, dude, there's a shout out to you in it, and he'll be like, all right, I'm in. Yeah, it's definitely funky on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. Wow. Talk about just perfectly balanced on the palate. Sort of peachy flavors, a little bit of like this sort of like pineapple sort of richness or sweetness. There's definitely a lot more sugar here, but there's perfectly balanced acid that is really well integrated already, which is kind of surprising. Like there's no sort of separation between the pieces, and a nice long finish. Definitely not a forward wine. Like this is definitely more delicate, sort of like really nice, like gentle flavors.
They really are. That really surprised me. I was expecting more of a punch, but after like I inhaled while tasting, and then the nose kind of messed things up, and that's why I was silent there for a while. But yeah.
It's just that like sometimes with cabinets you were talking about how like there's the step down in classification. Right? Like people like I've heard this multiple times drinking with people that we drink that have a lot of experience in German wines, and then they'll try say like a Kabinett right from like 12 or something, and be like, wow, that was a huge. This tastes like Spatlese from like 10 years ago.
Yep.
Right. You hear that sort of quite often. This I don't think would have a similar.
I'm with you on that. Yeah.
It's just that the ripeness is not there. The flavors are more delicate. The sugar is really well integrated with the acid here. That's the feeling on it.
Yeah, and it's definitely a bigger wine in all of its parts than the previous two.
Oh sure.
Right, like more acidity, more sweetness, more depth of fruit. The fruit leans more towards like really ripe peaches, but it's not. It's still not heavy. Yeah, the acidity is still very full. Really sinks into the gums and dries things out on the palate.
Loads of acid.
Yeah,
I really like it.
So if you like that fuller style, and I do, and I also feel that it really speaks well for its ageability. Even though people don't think about that with Kabinett quite as much, this has it.
I wanted to say like
reminds me of 10s a little bit.
Agreed. That's kind of why I've been really making a point to check out 2015 is because I feel like I missed the boat. I don't know about you, but I missed the boat on 2010. Like I didn't buy enough. I don't have any of them.
I don't know if anybody did.
Well, I know
I've got some, and I still didn't buy enough.
But they are like we joke around, laugh at each other like a perfect 10. Like it's because the German 2010s were it, and so that's why I've really been trying to focus on trying to find these 2015s where they're special. And I think this one very well could be, after a few years in bottle, quite special. It's already really quite delicious, but I agree with the nose characteristic. Like it leaves something to be desired, right? Like it's got that cabbagey sort of funky aroma, and that will obviously turn off a lot of people.
But I'd say that's even a good sign. Again, if you're watching this show, you probably at least even a little bit kind of prefer that the wine's fermented with spontaneous yeast, or that's at least interesting to you. Yep. A little sign of the region, a little sign of terroir, and that's where it comes from. So if you get that cabbagey stink on Mosel Riesling, be happy. It's a good
for
thing.
The rest of your bottles.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to say, I think when I was looking at Vinopoulos does a pretty good job of like leaving little like notes on top of the wines when they're like this is the sale price, and then like Terry Thies's notes, or like whatever. And they had the Mosel Fine Wine guys notes on this wine, and I believe
shout out to those guys.
I believe the drink by date started at like 2025 or something for like
because they know,
right?
They know,
like, they know, right?
Yeah.
And these guys have like if you're interested in Mosel wines and you've never looked up Mosel Fine Wines write-ups, they do amazing. They give you so much information for free, it's ridiculous.
Absurd.
They fully integrated with Cellar Tracker at this point, which is pretty fantastic. And
Heck, I'll go there if I could only read one other person's like wine reviews or write ups or anything.
they're the best.
You throw it all away. All the professionals, everybody like these. It's free to subscribe, sign up, get their newsletter. Great coverage of German
Those guys
wines.
are living the dream.
They're great. They're doing good
Those guys
stuff.
are living
Well,
the
they work day jobs too.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
But they live
So-
close enough to where they can do it.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so that's our show for tonight. What German Rieslings are you guys drinking?
Yeah, we're always excited to hear more, especially yeah.
We've been hitting that Immish Anker stuff lately, so
Loving it.
keep an eye out for that. Garage Yeast is apparently bringing in some more.
That's right. Yeah, we talked about them in the past. Sign up for Garage Yeast. Buy that Immishanker when it comes through.
Yep.
Get a hold of Annapolis. Buy these wines.
True.
Comment. Share. You know the deal. We need the love.
We need some thumbs ups.
We get more.
Yeah.
We get more views from your shares than we do from our original postings. So.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, we'll see you guys
See you
next
next
time. Cheers.